To break this down even more, we go to former UK Member of Parliament George Galloway. Thanks for joining us this evening, George. Is it fair to blame President Trump's tariffs on steel and aluminum for this crash? Or was this destiny for the $900 billion economy, considering Turkey's billions of high foreign debt and uncontrollable inflation?
Well, the economics of this are just as interesting as the politics. The economics are, as you say, Turkey has, throughout the Erdogan era, had a very fast-growing economy. There were some years its economy was growing faster than China's. A lot of that has been fueled by debt, a lot of European exposure to Turkish banks. That's one of the reasons for the German anxiety that you've just been playing out there. And it's true that if you go for growth and it's based on borrowing, that it only takes a ripple to overwhelm you, and that ripple has now become a bit of a tidal wave. The Turkish lira has fallen off a cliff, and many consequences may well follow. Some in Europe here are saying Turkey will be the new Greece, which is, of course, a somber idea, because Greece caused enormous earthquake in the European economic system and pressure on the European Central Bank. A massive bailout was required. Erdogan is saying he will not take a bailout, neither will he raise interest rates, and therefore the collision course seems absolutely clear-cut. It's an irresistible force in the reckless unilateralism of Donald Trump, and an immovable object in the Islamist Turkish nationalism of the Erdogan regime. But the politics are, in my opinion, even more interesting. Turkey is being singled out because of the pivot that it has made towards Russia and Iran, the pivot against Saudi Arabia that it has made, and its refusal to play ball with the U.S. in neighboring Syria. So you have a perfect storm, actually, for U.S.-Turkish confusion, collision. And I don't need to remind you, both Turkey and the United States are members of NATO and bound to come to each other's military side in any conflict with anyone else. Complicated, all right.
Well, it's interesting that you do bring up NATO. Do you think possibly this is President Trump? It's not necessarily about releasing the pastor. This is more about President Trump pushing to see how loyal that Turkey really is of an ally to the United States going forward.
Well, it's quite interesting. NATO had a war game last year in which they had to apologize to Turkey because Turkey was the notional enemy in the war game. Turkey as a member of NATO. And so Turkey has always faced both ways, walked down both sides of the road. Is it a Middle Eastern power? Is it an Asiatic power? Is it an Islamic power? Or is it a putative member of the European Union and a member of NATO in good standing? Trump, if he's testing Erdogan, will be disappointed, I think, in the result, because Erdogan is a pretty difficult man to push around.
Well, but that's the question. Could this result in Turkey ultimately withdrawing from NATO? Or more importantly, could this be the United States pulling out its military base, with now you have possible arrest of soldiers brought on by a lawsuit by 3 Turkish lawyers saying that they were a part of a coup, a failed coup in 2016. Are we not? Isn't Turkey have more to lose than the United States right now?
Well, I don't know. If the United States withdrew its nuclear weapons from Turkey, which, by the way, it agreed back in 1963 that it would withdraw, and it did withdraw, but they have returned, I don't think that makes Turkey any worse off. This backlash against Donald Trump's unilateralism is breaking out everywhere. The EU has introduced its blocking mechanism to block the impact on European Union companies of Trump's sanctions against Iran. Germany is in the vanguard of rejecting US hegemony over European affairs. Now Turkey has joined the mix. I think that all over the world, people are declaring this unipolar world with the United States as the unipolar is coming to an end, and not before time, in my opinion.
Well, it's definitely that President Trump has made his place known within the world. Thank you so much for joining us, George Galloway, as this situation is going to continue to develop.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.